the all-important beginning. I'm Karen Bury with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Peg Thomas, award-winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
I'm starting that timer now. And today we want to talk about the beginning. What are the best ways and the not so best ways to start your book? Peg, what are some of your tips for good beginnings?
My favorite tips for good beginnings are you have to start with action, but action does not necessarily mean moving. Action means that the story hits the ground running. And there's different ways you can start a book. You can start with an intense emotion, which gets the book moving right away. You can start with an unforgettable character. Think about The Hobbit if you've ever read The Hobbit. There's nothing major happening there, but that unforgettable character gets the story moving right away. You can start with action, actual physical action in your story. All three of those ways they're very viable ways to start your story. You want that hook your reader in the first 2 sentences, if at all possible. Today's reader has the attention span of a gnat. And if you don't deliver something that's going to pull them in right away, you're going to lose them. So, strong emotion, an intense situation, physical action, or an unforgettable character are 4 really great ways to start a story off strong and get that opening pumping and get the people interested in what they're reading right off the bat. It
So, Peg,
doesn't mean
question.
oh,
Does that mean I should start my book with a car accident?
if the car accident is crucial to your story, yes, you might want to start it there. Um, but you don't have to. This is the one thing about starting stories. There's not like one way that you can start your story. There's many ways you can start your story. You can start it with a car accident and make it absolutely work and do beautifully. Or you can start it the same exact story with an unforgettable character who's going to be in the car accident. And it can be just as strong and just as effective. But the big thing is you want to hook the reader. And, people say, like I said, that you'll hear it all the time, start with action. Action is not always physical. Action is whatever gets the story rolling right now, right away, engages the reader from those first words. That's our goal today. We no longer write pages and pages of purple prose before we get to the meat of the story.
The other thing you want to make sure that your opening does, and I get some flack from people on this, because you do want to start with action, you want it to be appropriate, but you still have to have your act one. You want to jump right into the story, but you have to take time to, depending on how you want to call it, I call it establishing normal. I got that from one of my craft books. You need to show what the characters' lives are like so that when they jump into the story and when things happen to them and they have to make these decisions, the reader knows how it's going to impact them and how it's going to change their lives. If we don't know what change is going to happen, and if we don't have that time to connect and to relate to your characters, it's harder to engage. I see this a lot in manuscripts, but I see it a lot even in some published books. And those are usually the books that I give 3 stars because I never quite connected with the character, because when all of a sudden she is offered a job promotion and gets to move out of town, does she want the promotion? Does she want to move out of town? I don't know if she's happy about this or upset about it. So I don't know how to feel. So it is very much a delicate balance of starting with action, but also laying the foundation that lets your reader connect with the characters so they know how the different plot elements are going to impact their lives and the story. You don't want to, and sometimes you can get away with that in romantic suspense or in suspense because you want to jump in right away. I will admit that that's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of that genre or those genres. because I don't know what's going on and I feel confused for so long in the book that I just prefer not to have that. Granted, people who write and read romantic suspense and suspense, they like that. In that genre, there's a lot more leeway, but especially when you're writing historical, when you're writing romance, women's fiction, you need to take that time in the first act, and we are out of time.
Well,
So
out of
I'm
time
Karen
again.
Beery. I
Oh,
know.
all right.
I'm Karen Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas. See you next time.